Welcome to this video about working towards an EBSA formulation, part 1 of 3. Overview. We've considered methods for identifying pupils in the school who present with indicators and risk factors of EBSA, including some of the school, family and pupil factors that might contribute to EBSA, specific factors which might pull the pupil away from attending school, and factors which could push them towards attending school more often, and the information that pupils can provide to help us understand their thoughts and behaviours using a wide variety of methods. Here, we will build on this by focusing on the next 3 main tasks in this work. Information gathering with adults, staff and parents carers, working towards a formulation of the EBSA, and once the formulation is written up, undertaking an initial piece of work with the pupil that employs a solution-focused approach. Seeking staff views. We all respond differently according to the environment, situations or task, and with different people. Each member of staff may have valuable information and insights to help identify triggers for their pupil's anxiety and strategies the pupil responds positively to. It's particularly important to seek out the views of staff who know the pupil well, teach or support often, and any staff members who the pupil holds in high regard. It can also be helpful to contrast this with the views of staff members where the relationship is currently more difficult, for whatever reason. This provides a richer overview of staff views. Information can be gathered in different ways. Informal, incidental conversations, but maintain a note of key points. Meetings, and email surveys and round robins. What to ask staff? There is no set menu of questions. Each pupil is different. After deciding which staff to liaise with and how you will contact them, consider asking questions that provide information about their strengths and interests, what is going well, for example in and outside of lessons, the quality of their peer relationships, how they communicate with adults, their response to academic tasks and any apparent barriers to learning, their response to interventions, any emotional or behavioural difficulties, and if so, if they have noticed any triggers or patterns, any other difficulties they have noticed, and any adjustments, approaches and strategies that they feel work well, and any ideas for further support. What to do with information from staff. Once you've collated staff views, it can be helpful to summarise and order the key themes that emerge. This will be a useful reference for the remainder of the work that we are outlining here. It is important to recognise that pupils at risk of EBSA may have underlying and unknown special educational needs. During this process, issues might be highlighted that require further exploration, specific to SEN, part of the graduated approach to identification of needs. If that is the case, another round of information gathering with staff may be necessary. For example, if all of the pupil's teachers indicate the pupil appears to be very inattentive and hyperactive, this may prompt a further piece of information gathering with use of a very basic ADHD indicators checklist. This is just one example. The same could apply to other areas of SEN, for example signs of dyslexia or other specific learning difficulties, speech and language needs, autism, and other specific areas of social, emotional and mental health, SEMH. Working in partnership with parents and carers. It is essential that sufficient time is taken to build strong collaborative partnerships with the pupil's parents' carers. Regular contact with them throughout the Assess, Plan, Do review cycle is vital. Parents and carers may find it difficult to talk about the concerns they have and the difficulties they experience in getting their child to school. This is often a very stressful and anxiety-provoking issue to deal with in families, and may have been experienced for some time already. It can therefore be helpful to identify a key person or small team of key people who will lead on communication with them. Not to make any assumptions that parenting issues are an issue or a core reason for the EBSA. And use an empathetic, curious, open, no-blame approach. Active listening. When first talking with parents and carers about their child and the concerns about EBSA, it is most effective to ensure that parents and carers are warmly welcomed and made to feel as comfortable as possible. Clearly and empathetically outline the current concerns about their child and what work has been undertaken so far. And provide adequate time and space for a sensitive and honest conversation. There are times when it's appropriate and helpful for a formal and structured approach, but not now, using active listening strategies. A note on transition. Whilst here we are focusing on meeting with parents and carers after EBSA concerns have been raised and started to be explored, it is important to note that the transition process between schools and settings can also highlight early or known EBSA risks. Based on the information shared between settings at transition points, if colleagues in other schools and settings have raised concerns about EBSA, it may be appropriate to meet with parents and carers at an early point. If this is the case, ensure that all available transition information, particularly relating to risk factors and indicators, have been collated and summarised. And your initial conversations with parents and carers may be informed by information from the previous school and setting. For example, previous attendance patterns, staff concerns, etc., which needs to be shared sensitively and cautiously. What to explore with parents and carers. There is no script for a conversation with parents and carers about their child. There are a wide range of themes. We will now have a brief look at some possible prompts. Developmental and educational history. What were they like as a young child? Can you tell me about their early experiences at school? Strengths, interests, and aspirations. What are they good at? What do they like doing? Do they have any hopes for the future? Do they know what they want their life to be like when they're an adult? What are your hopes and aspirations for your child? Any potential changes or losses within the family or their child's life? Can you tell me about your family? Who is in it? Who is like whom? Who are they closest to? Have there been any changes within the family? What to explore with parents carers. Relationships. Do they talk about any other pupils? What do they say? Do they talk about any adults within the school? What do they say? Who do they get on with? Who don't they get on with? Academic progress. Have they said that they find it difficult to learn in any subjects? How do they feel about their academic progress? Their child's specific fears, worries. Have they spoken to you about what they find difficult about school? What do they say? Have they discussed break time, lunchtime? What do they say they are thinking or feeling? Their child's views about what is going well in school. Have they mentioned anything that is going well in school? For example, teachers, lessons, and friends. What to explore with parents, carers. Typical day. When they go to school and when they don't go to school. What is a typical day like? When they go to school from the moment they get up until they go to bed. What do they do when they do not want to go to school? Impact on various members of the family. How does their non-attendance impact on you and on other family members? Who is better at dealing with the situation? Why? Exceptions to the problem. What has been different about the times when it's been less of a struggle to get into school? What has been the most helpful or useful strategies that you've tried so far to reduce their anxiety about school? And parent-carer views on the reasons for the EBSA. Why do you think they have difficulty attending school? Are there other family members who would say anything different? This is the end of this video. Parts 2 and 3 on this topic are now available to watch. You can view more videos in the EBSA Essentials series.